Only on The Element, the producer spotlight comes at you every Wednesday between 1 and 1:30 right here on the Rocking Real and Relevant Massive Metro. Hello, Mr. Instro.
Hello, Aziz. What's up?
I'm good. I'm happy you're here.
I'm happy I'm here too.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, you're good energy.
Yeah, producer spotlight is like my highlight. You know what I mean? Like it's in my top 2 and it's not 2.
Oh, all right then. Well, screw me and the rest of the show. Anyway, back to the producer spotlight. Today
Yes.
we're taking a look at Robert Fitzgerald Diggs, aka Azizzar. Tell me why.
AKA Bobby Digital. You can't skip Bobby Digital because
Okay,
AKA
the man
Prince
with the iron
Rakim,
fist.
the man with the iron fist. We're looking at RZA today because there's a very interesting trending topic that's been going on social media about certain rappers here in SA who have like a certain love for hip hop music,
right.
and it's centered around culture appropriation. So I took a look at where RZA comes from and how Wu-Tang Clan got developed and how he kind of orchestrated everything, and it was hugely influenced by martial arts movies,
Right, because he
And
likes martial arts movies.
he's obsessed about
Yeah.
martial art movies. I mean, he's making his own movies now.
Yes.
But I think the whole background is inspired by the East, like the philosophies that are there, and basically how he saw his own life and how he reflected on what was happening around him. And there was a lot of similarities that were happening in those movies.
Right.
So he got his team, he got his people, and yeah, they started this amazing, the most influential hip-hop group of all time.
Yes.
The Wu-Tang Clan.
Yes. All right. So we're going to go get some money quickly. And then after we get some money quickly, we're going to unpack a little bit more until we hit 1:30. But just a quick background. RZA was born on the 5th of July in 1969 and spent much of his childhood in Staten Island, New York. And so when I was reading up about him as well, he had developed like an interest in music at a very, very young age. I think it was about 9 years old.
Yeah.
And then started really getting into it about 2 years later. And he was into music as a whole. There was DJing, there was MC.
Yeah.
And then as he got older, he really, really honed in to what it was that we know him for. So
Yeah, he actually got his first record deal as Prince Rakim at 18. He was 18. 60,000 rand. I mean, $60,000 advance.
Nahan, what would you do with that? Speaking of money, let's go get that quickly, and then we're going to get back to the producer spotlight right here on The Element, where everything is rocking, real, and relevant, and all for the love of hip hop. Only on The Element. All right, Mr. Instro, let's go. Let's unpack what you have brought for us today.
So basically, as I mentioned earlier, that like RZA was influenced by. In fact, he was, according to him, he started off just wanting to be. He got caught by the music bug,
Right.
and he started his career as Prince Rakim. And he's actually got some music out as Prince Rakim, and like I don't know why he's a bit embarrassed about it, like I understand, because obviously when you do things the labels tell you to do, it
Right.
kind of like stifles your creativity,
Right.
and you can pretty much see it when you watch those videos, that like he was a good looking guy. So in fact, which brings me to the point, right? Just a sidebar there, that if there was ever an era, right, that
Right.
I would have wanted to be like a producer and be a musician, it would definitely be like late 80s, early 90s. That 10 years is the most amazing time where
Right.
you know, people were figuring out like how to move from analog to digital, and music, you could still buy it, you
Right,
know.
yes.
I miss buying music so much because it's like, man, it feels like you own something, you
That's
own a
true.
piece of it, you know. But these days when you stream music, you want to move on because there's no like sense of ownership.
It's not tangible.
It's not tangible at all. Anyway, moving right along. Yeah, Bobby Digital, and so we have this issue, and I'm curious to know if you would consider what RZA did, the inspiration that comes out of, you know, these Chinese and martial arts movies, if you would consider that cultural appropriation.
Somehow I knew that you were going to go there with it.
I
so
have to.
I'm prepared. And I
Okay.
think that it's only right for us to start by looking at the definition of cultural appropriation.
Cool. Let's
Because I
do
was
that.
looking it up, and I also then found cultural appropriation versus cultural appreciation.
There we go.
But cultural appropriation is defined in the dictionary as the unacknowledged or inappropriate adoption of the customs, practices, ideas, etc. of one people or society by members of another, and typically more dominant people or society.
Yep.
And as I was looking up as well, I was watching some stuff when people were talking about it, and I think the big thing is the how is the how you use the elements that you are going to be taking and using.
Right.
And it's whether it's appropriate or not, whether it's a gimmick or not, and whether it's just because it's cool.
Yeah.
And that's how I tend to see cultural appropriation. Even when you look at black women, for instance, you know, it wasn't cool to be quote unquote nappy headed
Right.
up until
Recently.
a few years ago.
Yeah.
And you find that people who had encouraged us to have the more sleek kind of look are now the ones going, hey, this is cool,
Yeah.
so we're going to do it. That for me is cultural appropriation. Cultural appreciation, however, is where you not just take from something and wear it like a skin that you can take off and because it's cool, but cultural appreciation rather is when you appreciate the culture, where you work with people who are within that culture and you give back
Lovely.
into that culture.
That is such a beautiful way to look at it. And I just wonder then that when Wu-Tang Clan came out, right? I think because a lot of people wouldn't have been familiar with the vision, I think they would have considered it cultural appropriation. I mean,
Right.
it's only after the fact that we now realize that it was much bigger. You know, when RZA kind of breaks it down and was like, yo, this thing actually kind of mentally got me out of the situation we were in, you know, being in the hood, being down and out, you know, being in situations where, you know, the life of a black man doesn't cost anything, you know. And now we have this thing that teaches us about wisdom, about knowing who we are, and it just happens to come from the other side of the world.
See,
you know?
that for me does not sound like appropriation. That sounds to me like appreciation. Also because it's so personal. I think that the issue is when you just take something, it's momentary,
Yeah.
and you want to be cool, you want to benefit for a short amount of time because
Yeah.
that's the fad, that's the thing that's happening right now. But it actually personally does not mean anything to you. It has not impacted your life in any kind of way.
Yeah.
And you also don't care about where it is that you are taking from.
Right.
That's for me is where it becomes an issue. And even looking back at the context that you gave earlier on, with especially here at home with the conversation that was happening, I had an issue with the way that it looked like this particular artist. It was just cool. You're just
Yeah,
wearing it
yeah.
and you're taking it off. But it's very different if you live like that.
Yes.
It's very different. It's very different, Mr. Instro, if let's say you are Afrikaans and I am Afrikaans speaking, but I've grown up in that way.
Yeah.
And it's a part of what I do. And I don't just put it on when you are around.
Yeah.
It's very, very different. But if I'm just putting it on when you are around, and because that's the cool thing right now, then it's very, very problematic. And of course, people are going to be pissed off with you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think our biggest issue now for me is, you know, culture, the hip hop subculture, and also, you know, people's livelihood and the portrayal of people's livelihood. And also there's the spanner in the works, which is music business. You know, I'll never ever forget the scene in Brown Sugar. If you've seen the movie Brown Sugar, where they're in the studio, they're singing. You know,
the hoe is mine.
The hoe is mine. You see, and that's such a monumental a scene, because that's pretty much what's happening in the game right now. You know, a lot of people are like, no, we're trying to make money off of whatever's cool right now, and you find them doing those kinds of things. In fact, it was the strangest thing for me to normalize a situation where you find rappers saying, no, I've got a ghostwriter, so my ghostwriter does this and this. I'm like, what? Where? You know what I mean? Where do we pride ourselves in what we do and what we write, you know? And then that's when the music business kicks in, that nah. If Whitney Houston got some songwriters, then there's nothing that should make it different for a rapper.
And you and I had this conversation not too long ago, and I was saying to you, what I find different about it is that, one, R&B singers or singers in general don't hide the fact that there's somebody who co-wrote or wrote for them.
Yes.
You know, they'll easily say, Mr.Instro is my songwriter, or I sat with a group of songwriters.
Yeah.
And it's not the same, because you don't hear rappers coming out and being like, yo, Stogie T is my ghostwriter or whatever. They don't wear it proudly and openly,
Aziz,
right?
I'm telling you.
But also, going back to, and this is what we were talking about, going back to how you got your respect as an MC back then. It was crucial for that thing to come from you, because that was your introduction to the world. That's how we got to know you. So for me, just because of the school that I come from, for me, if you decided to be a rapper tomorrow and you didn't write that, I'd still love you because you're my brother, but I don't think that I would have the same level of respect for you as a rapper as I would.
But your respect, what does your respect mean to me, though?
If you want me to buy your stuff, it should matter.
You're streaming my stuff.
Am I?
Yeah.
Am I?
Yeah, it's hard. They are. Like, I'll give you, I won't even, like, try and water this down, but, like, I was shocked when I saw an interview of Costa Titch, you know, talking about the fact that he's got like ghostwriters, and I was like, okay, so this is where the game has gotten to, where it's okay for someone to say, yo, me, I don't write my own rhymes, you know. It's the era that we're living in, you know, and people love this guy. People don't care. They don't care. It's us who are the fossils, apparently.
Right? We're the OGs.
The OGs who are like, nah, you can't do that. But the truth is, yo, hip-hop evolves just like any other subculture, you know, and people will always cry. They'll always cry about cultural appropriation. But the truth is, you can't hold on to it when, you know, the world is moving as well. You know, you can't hold on to it when there's a certain consciousness that dies, you know, when people like that kind of come into the scene, and where money is involved, because also the art is not profitable, you know what I mean? If you do something because it's an art, it more often kind of, you know, makes you disappear in the background. But if you're there for the business, like good example is P. Diddy was never pretentious about what he was in the music business, more so the hip-hop business for.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. We have to let Koli quickly do her news. We're actually going to pick this up before we get into the appreciation. Koli, come through. Stand with Sam. We're so sorry. We're talking so much and taking so much of your time. Okay, so Koli's going to give us a quick news update, and for the first time ever, we're going to come back with the producer's spotlight. I don't really
What did I say?
I don't really like that.
No, it's true. It's true. The fact that...
Look, you might be right, but I don't like it.
No doubt. And you know what? We need to do what the people there in the Twitter streets did. We need to call it out, okay?
Right.
it's important that people understand that we are in the era of the hip hop music business, okay, not the hip hop art. But at the same time, you know, it's important that we acknowledge the fact that in some places you will find appropriation. You will find people who can rap, people who can sing, who won't really care about the background story. Like if you ask one of these new cats who Prince Rakeem is, they'll have no clue, and they won't care. They won't care to do that because they don't have like the student element out of, you know, what.
True, it's like when they said that Casper Nyovest put Tebe on.
Yeah, you see. Do you see that thing? It's dangerous. That's why it needs to be called out.
Right.
That's why it needs to be called out. And as much as we don't think that it'll have a certain impact, I think it will, because at least now there's a certain consciousness that comes with me hearing you. You know, it's almost like when I personally heard about Drake, it doesn't go out of my mind, not even a single time. You know what I mean? Every time I hear Drake, I'm like, I wonder who wrote this,
right?
Which is a horrible thing to think about a rapper. You know what I mean? Especially a rapper as gifted as him.
Right.
We all know that he can do it, but like, my respect kind of.
Whoa! But what's your respect to me?
Yeah,
what you
see,
to me earlier.
let me tell you why.
What's your respect to me?
Even
if you're streaming me.
And look at how Drake is doing now. He's doing well,
right?
Which proves my point. Yes, my respect is a not like it was.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm probably not what he's looking for.
Okay, but then Mr.Instro, just before we close it off, should that be okay? Should we be okay with that?
I think we should, man. It's a yin and yang. You know, you can't have a good thing and not have a bad thing. This is the only time where science and spirituality and life come together. Everything must have a good and a bad thing.
That's fine. I agree with that. Everything must have a good and a bad thing. My issue is when we're saying the bad thing is also good. When we are celebrating the bad thing,
there you go,
as though it is good, or
and that's the problem,
or on the same level as the actually good thing.
That's the
where
problem.
My issue comes in.
But you see, the thing
then
that
everybody is dope.
The thing that takes it there is the vehicle, and that vehicle is money. If I can reach Massive Metro and get them to get me on high rotation, then I'm eventually gonna think that whoever I'm hearing 20,000 times a day is better. It's common sense.
Sigh. Just by the way, public disclaimer: we don't do those things around here at Massive.
Nah, we don't.
We don't do those
I can
things
vouch for that.
Here.
I can definitely vouch for that. And just in closing, right? I just wanna big up all the people. Like I was listening to Zulu Mecca.
Yes.
And wow, like I may be late on the train. You know, those are real artists.
Yes.
You know, people that actually you can hear that they take care of every single thing that they do, from the production to the lyricism, and that really makes me think that like it's there. You know what I mean? It's there. It's possible for really good music to get out there, and I'd like to just employ everyone who's listening to support. You know, support the stuff that you like. Don't just
don't get taken by the wind and the trend.
Exactly. Like support. Actually be what's the word? Be active about it.
So basically, put your money where your mouth is and support the real. Okay, so Patty Monroe will have to forgive me. We took a little bit of time from her appreciation, but it's still going all the way until 2 o'clock. # Patty Monroe appreciation right here on The Element.
Sketchy Bongo.